Welcome to the Potter's Wheel podcast. In Jeremiah 18 it tells us, like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand.
Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second episode of the Potter's Wheel podcast. This week, as promised, we've got another person. The first episode was my story, and this week we've got just an amazing, fascinating story, which I really, really love. I just think it's amazing, and I'm really excited to hear this. This is Dean, and welcome to the podcast, Dean.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I can get my point across, tell my testimony clearly in a way that resonates with your viewers. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
It definitely will. I've already heard it once, and I know other people will definitely resonate to it, and
Yeah,
because it is quite unique as well, isn't it? So
yeah.
So before we get into the juicy bits of what actually happened, what was the first part of your life like, Dean?
Pretty standard actually. Pretty
Yeah.
kind of normal. Like grew up
Yeah.
with a brother, my mum and dad, from a loving family, and yeah, we were very close. We did lots of things together. There was never kind of any issues. It was just like a nice childhood. Very blessed, really, in that instance. Was really close with my brother. We used to play all the time, and yeah, just kind of like almost like a bog standard family, really. Nothing negative or anything like that. Just really nice, wholesome, really.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. So, in obviously moving on a bit, what was it like as you grew into your teenage years? What types of things were you into, and
Yeah,
if you
sure.
can just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was like I was very athletic when I was a kid, and I used to do everything. I used to do martial arts. I used to do football. I even did gymnastics. Yeah, I thought I wanted to become like a ninja, and so I thought gymnastics and martial arts, combine the two. Yeah, so I used to do gymnastics, martial arts, and football. So I was really active, really fit, healthy. Um, that was so I used to do all those things within the
Wow.
week. So, like, Monday I'd be at karate, and Wednesday I'd be at karate. Then on a Friday I'd be at gymnastics, and then yeah, it was just full on. But it was good because it
Yeah.
kept me on the. That was like my early years. So like my so when I was I started young, so maybe like 5. I started
Yeah.
at 5 playing football and martial arts, and I carried that on till I was about 15, 16, basically
Yeah.
until I got into, like, near the end of secondary school. But it was really good because it kept me so focused, and always busy. So, yeah, so I just led, like, a really healthy, active lifestyle, and
Yeah.
always busy with these activities, which stood me in good favor, kept me fit, kept me out of trouble. Um And football, I got quite far in football. I ended up, being picked to go to Southampton School of Excellence, but
Yeah.
then some things happened there, and I
Oh,
didn't go. But yeah, I was doing, sports for the school as well, like hurdling and stuff like that. It's just like loads of different sports. Um, yeah, it was really good.
yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of karate. So like, what belt and that did you get? Oh,
Oh,
what?
okay. Yeah, so I got to I did a style of karate called Goju-Ryu, and I got to a brown belt with 1 or 2
Wow.
black stripes. So it's
Yeah.
really silly, really, because I give up. I give up just
Yeah.
before getting to black. Yeah. What did you do? What style did you do?
I only got. I think it was was it orange or something? Like it was one of
Oh,
the
okay.
first ones.
Yeah.
I didn't get nowhere near as far as you did.
Yeah, but I did
But
it for a fair few years, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
I stopped just before the exciting bit of getting to a black belt, so don't ask me
yeah.
why. Life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to the point where you were actually combating people and stuff.
Yeah, we did competitions.
Oh,
We did
yeah,
competitions,
well,
and we had uh, training twice a week. But yeah, we did a lot of competitions. Competition for fighting
wow.
and for
Wow.
kata, which is like the set of moves that you do. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, did a fair few of those.
yeah,
But yeah, this was a long time ago. This was like, I was about 10,
yeah,
11.
yeah. No, it's good. It's good to have stuff like that in your life, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
really that's why like I made a point of it, like keeping you on a straight and narrow, because I really believe in that
yeah,
type of thing now. The more good things you have in your life, um,
yeah,
it keeps you busy, and doing good
yeah,
stuff. So I've actually
exactly.
recently got I've actually recently in the last 6 months gone back to martial arts. I do Krav Maga
Okay.
now, which is a
Wow.
really intense one. That's like it was designed for the Israeli army. So I
Was
do
it?
that now. Yeah, and it's really, really good.
Wow.
Yeah, which
That's
is really, really
amazing.
funny because I met the church I go to now. I
Yeah,
was pointed in that direction by a lady I met at Krav Maga of all places. She
yeah,
she saw there's a WhatsApp group, and she saw that my picture was a picture of Jesus as my profile picture.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then a few weeks passed at Krav Maga, and she said, "Oh, what's that picture on your phone?" And I
yeah,
said, "Oh, it's Jesus." And she goes, "Really? Tell me about it." And
yeah,
she's a believer, and she goes to this church, and
yeah.
she's fully involved, and she brought me to her church, and subsequently I got
Mm.
baptized. So that in itself is a spooky coincidence, or well, not a coincidence. I believe it's God leading me.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. It's the Lord. Is there anything else around that time when you were doing different athletics and different things that were going on that you would like to mention? Anything that you think of around that time?
Uh, No, just I was a typical teenager, so I was doing
Yeah,
that, and then each thing kind of dropped off. I dropped
yeah,
the gymnastics, then dropped the martial arts, then dropped the football. So little by little, I
yeah,
dropped everything, and then
yeah,
that's when I kind of had more time to be a bit, you know, not really bad, but just like a typical teenager, naughty, you know.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but nothing major. So
Yeah, I understand.
yeah.
So, what was the lead up? I know I don't want to get there too quick, but what was sort of like the things leading up to like your turning point in life? Would you
Yeah,
say?
sure. So, I was as I say, as I'm growing up and these things drop away, the karate, martial arts, things like that, then
Yeah,
I got into like, a relationship, and that didn't work out, and then I kind of, um, started going down like a bit of a negative path. Um,
yeah, yeah.
met my wife, who I'm with now, and we had two children. But
Wow.
I was like mentally not in a good place for many years of that relationship, and
Yeah, yeah,
just slowly started not being like a good person, for various different
yeah,
things, and that kind of just became like selfish, and things like that. So
yeah,
it's like like with anything, it's like a slow it's like a slow um, transition of kind of like life beating you down, all these kind of
yeah,
things happen that kind of turn your life on the trajectory of what was really positive and doing all these things into just little things that happen, and it slowly turns your life until you're not a
yeah,
like a good person anymore. And then that kind of just kept going down that path,
yeah,
really, until the thing happened to me. It was my brother's stag do. He was getting
yeah,
married, and he had a stag do, and,
yeah.
he went to the stag do was in Bratislava. So,
Just
yeah, so
go into it, yeah. However you would normally explain it, from your heart.
okay, so, yeah, so because of my own actions and what I was doing, I ended up,
Yeah,
um, sat outside a bar, and all of
yeah,
a
yeah,
sudden, I get this massive massive pain in my face, like a
Yeah.
pain that I've never experienced anything like it. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow, what was that? It was excruciating. My heart was going boom, 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 boom. So I was like, oh no, I'm like having a heart attack or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was with my stepdad and I said, oh, can you phone an ambulance? So he did, and an ambulance came and they put the ECG on me. They didn't really speak much in English, but they said heart attack. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
no. And that's
Wow.
basically what I would imagine a heart attack would feel like as well. So yeah, so the paramedics came, they did an ECG. The ECG was bad. So they took me to the hospital.
Yeah.
When I got to the hospital, they did a little while later. They did some other ECGs and some other tests, like an
Yeah.
echocardiogram, and it there was a bad ECG, but then
Yeah.
I was okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I was okay. It's total miracle, I guess.
Yeah.
Go from that and then to just be okay, and then they did another ECG. It was fine. I thought I was gonna die. I literally
Yeah.
my stepdad was crying 'cause he was there, 'cause honestly, I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
anyway, long story short, a few hours later, they let me go because my ECG fine, my heart rate's back down to normal, and everything's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we went back to the hotel, and I was staying in the, in the same bedroom as my stepdad,
Yeah.
and I tried to go to sleep. The lights off. Um, I tried to go to sleep, and I'm laying in my bed, and these what I can only describe as demons appear in my room. There was about, and they were all around my bed. So my head's up here on my bed, and they're all around my bed here. So like here and round here, and there was about 13 of them, and
Wow.
and they all had burnt faces. They were
Cool.
all very different looking, and and they were absolutely in absolute fits of like laughter.
Yeah.
They were absolutely mocking me and laughing at me, and and two of them came round this side, right up to my face like this, and were right in my face and absolutely laughing, and they were so happy. Um,
Wow.
so they were absolutely mocking me, and at this point,
Yeah.
I had no background in Christianity. I've never read a Bible.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was a God. Never even thought about God in any way, shape, or form. So I
Yeah.
had no background there. But these things, absolutely hated me, and I was saying to you, like, the hatred they have is
Yeah.
absolutely like it's insane. It's like nothing you've ever seen in this world. It is a hatred for like your very being, your makeup, because we're made in God's
Yeah.
image. I now know.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Absolutely hated us. Um, so they're absolutely mocking me. Like they were so happy that I was so stupid that I had done this to
Yeah.
myself, and this was happening to me. Um, and I got a so when this is happening to me, I had a clear message impressed upon my mind, basically, like a thought,
Yeah.
like a voice spoken into my mind, not audibly, into my
Wow.
mind.
Yeah.
And the
I know what
message,
you mean.
yeah, the message was
Yeah.
clear as day. It was from
Yeah.
Jesus, and he said to me, "These things can't touch you, but had you had died this night, I would have stepped back and allowed them, because they were trying to get me, but he
Yeah.
obviously withholds them. And it was a
Yeah.
clear message. And basically, the message is that if I had died that night, I would have. He would have taken the protective barrier away from me. They could have got me and taken me to hell. And that was as clear as day. It couldn't have been any clearer.
Wow.
Um,
That's fun.
it was terrifying. It was literally the most terrifying thing ever. Because you seeing these things, you can imagine what they would do to you if he took the restraints off. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable what they would do. And again,
Mm.
this now after having my experience and then researching other people's and things like that, people say the same thing. They've seen
Yeah,
these
they do.
things that want to absolutely tear them,
Yeah.
tear them apart, and that's what these things would have done to me.
Wow.
Not only that, were there these entities, demons in the room. In the corner of the room, there was a figure, and it was about 8-9 feet tall and very wide, and it
Yeah.
had a black robe,
Yeah.
and it was just
Cool.
standing there and watching, clear as day.
Yeah.
But whereas I could make out the features of these demons running around, I can make them out. This thing,
Yeah.
it was just one big black solid shadow, but you could make out it was wearing a cloak, like a robe,
Yeah.
black robe, which is crazy
Wow.
because I came across another testimony a few days ago.
The
Someone
same.
said exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
How is that
It's
possible?
amazing.
How's that possible? I had no
Exactly.
interaction with it at all, ever. So I saw these things
Yeah.
firsthand. But that was it. That just the pure mocking and the joy they feel. And now, having had this experience, I understand now that the joy they feel when people reject God, or
Yeah.
they sin, or the joy they feel is incredible.
Yeah.
To that, you know, it's
Yeah.
that's it's I don't know how to put it into words, but it's what their whole being is about.
Well, that's what I had one time. That is what they live for now.
It is, yeah.
To feed off that.
That's exactly it. Their sole purpose is
Yeah.
to lead people astray and take them. And the moment you cross
Yeah.
over, you can
Yeah.
see that. You can see exactly what their intentions was. But I believe they're there working on people in the background.
Yeah.
The whole game plan is to lead people away from God and into hell. And
Yeah.
so I saw this, and it's really amazing, because I'm so thankful to Jesus, because he saved me. He could have let me die that night, because I didn't
Yeah.
really deserve to be given another chance. He could have let me die that night. And I always think about this. I always think about, gosh, if he had not had mercy on me and let me go that night, I'd be in hell now. My wife would know nothing about it. Think I'm somewhere else, just because they all say when you die, don't they? He's in a better place, don't they? That's what they say.
Yeah. Yeah. Not necessarily.
No, exactly.
I
So
know that sounds horrible, doesn't it? But it just there is
yeah,
real penalties to this life, isn't there?
yeah, absolutely. And I always think back to that. I always think, gosh, if he had let me go that night, my wife never would have known that that's what happened to me. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that he gave me another chance, and that's why I'm trying now to do this thing with my channel, A Testimony to Christ, to try to bring people to Christ, because I don't want this to happen to anyone else. I don't want anyone to go to this place, because trust me, from what I saw, it's no party in hell. You don't want to be. You don't. I always think this as well. You don't want to be anywhere near where these things are. Nowhere near. And it scared me so much that after that night, I ended up having counselling. I
Wow.
was doing, I spent a long time in counselling, and trying to get
What did
over.
the counsellor say? Sorry,
I
what did
didn't.
the counsellor say?
I didn't say I had this hell
Yeah,
testimony,
yeah,
because I said I had real anxiety. I went through the anxiety. I had anxiety. It's not a lie. I
yeah,
had anxiety, but I didn't say this
yeah.
was why. I said for other
Well,
reasons, but
they would
because
have
I
probably been there, wouldn't
yeah, yeah, exactly.
they?
So I just couldn't, and yeah. So that was the message, and this thing that was in the corner of the room.
Yeah,
I I I was wondering a long time ago, like what its role was, and what like, and now I understand it was kind of just overseeing the other things. So,
wow.
but yeah, and so after this happened, it changed me.
Yeah,
Not instantly, because I had so much other stuff to process, you know, but
yeah,
gradually. And it's interesting because I think it says in the Bible that's, I know I was saying to you earlier, but I think it says in the Bible that some people are saved through fear, and that's definitely a case with me. And um, I I guess it's just a testament to how amazing God is, that He knew that was the only way to reach me, through that kind of
mhm,
experience, and He gave me that because He knew that would then change my life, and it changed my trajectory and put me back on a course of put me on a course to search for him and seek for him.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, so when that happened, I knew God
yeah,
existed. I knew that
yeah,
evil existed. In a second after that happened, I
yeah,
knew
wow.
that I knew there's a hell, I know there's demons, and I know God exists. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
ever since that point, I've been seeking God. And recently, or a few months ago, I ended up getting baptized.
yeah,
Um,
wow.
I read the Bible. I've read the whole of the New Testament, and I've read up to I'm on book 2 of Samuel in the Old Testament, so I'm going through that.
Oh, yeah.
Um, my life's completely changed. I live I try my best to live as Jesus lived,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
by 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 not willfully living in sin, by always looking at myself and what I'm doing and saying, no, this needs to stop, or and it's amazing because God, as I'm going through life, it's amazing because He fixes things for you
yeah,
step by step. So at some point, he worked on my anxiety and got rid of it. I
yeah,
suffered from
yeah.
it for years. He's cured me of
Wow.
it. The next thing He did was fix me by helping me, by giving me the confidence to speak to people. I would never have done
Yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah.
due
Wow.
to confidence and things like that. And He's just repairing
Yeah,
everything that I broke in my life. But it's a gradual process.
yeah,
And it's
it
like the
is, yeah.
first step is you accept Him, and then He fixes things over your life.
Mhm.
That's what I think it is now. I think your life He fixes and gets you ready for um, heaven, or the
That's
afterlife.
right, yeah. Yeah,
And
definitely.
so yeah, so my life looks completely different. I follow Him. Like I said, I always analyze my life and stop doing things that I should, and
Yeah,
um, because he convicts me, you know,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
I used to swear. I don't do that
yeah.
anymore.
Same, yeah.
Like it's a gradual, just step by step by
Yeah,
step. He changes everything,
it is,
and so
yeah.
now, yeah. So I'm amen. Yeah. So I'm completely different. He's fixed my life, and I'm eternally grateful,
Yeah,
and I will always be grateful. And I'm just so happy He gave me another chance, um,
yeah.
because I can't bear to even think about the alternative, honestly. But let's put it this way: it scared me enough to change me in an instant.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so yeah, and now life is following. I was saying to you that following Christ is that's where the work
yeah,
starts in your life for good. Though that's the good part of
yeah,
following life
yeah,
and following Christ and fixing everything. He fixed everything in your life and puts you on the right path. And now I'm trying to help people come to God, attending church, being baptized. You never would have thought it, So
Praise the Lord.
yeah,
I think it's so fascinating, Dean, this story. I think it's gonna stay with me, and it's really concreted like the beliefs I've got and the things I've felt. And hearing your story has helped me in my progression, because a lot of people don't like to admit these beings exist. They
yeah,
don't like to admit people go to church and stuff, and they like to think that demons existed in the scriptures when Jesus cast them out, but like they're not here around us. What would you say to people like that? Who would say things like that?
what would I say? I would say
Demons are not around us.
I think that's the whole game plan. I think we're here on this
Yeah.
earth, and that's the game plan from the beginning.
Yeah.
Choose
Yeah.
God, and if you don't choose God, you choose the way of the world, which ultimately run by Satan. And the whole thing is it's a fight between good and evil for your soul.
Mhm.
And what's scary is people don't even know the fight they're up against. They go through life thinking this is it. And the important things are, I've got to get this house now, I've got to get this car or money, position.
Exactly.
And people, this is what's really scary, and this is why I'm trying to help, and you are, is that trying to let people know that they don't even know they're in a fight.
Exactly.
But it's hard because only people with ears to hear and eyes to see will do.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think it's crazy, and that's really sad, I think, because the stakes are so high. But what I would say to people, as I would say, don't take my testimony as fact. Have a look. There is so many people out there who have had similar stuff, testimonies. Read the Bible. Have a look at some of these scholars in Christianity and things like that. And there's so much evidence for God. It's there. It's really there. You just need to open your heart and really ask God to come into your life, show you truthfully from the bottom of your heart. And he will do in one way or another. But just look into it. Don't just dismiss it all. But that's how good of a job Satan has done to convince the world that not only does Satan not exist, because by doing that he's also convinced the world that God doesn't exist. That type of thing. It's really it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, there's that lie of, he tells us there isn't a God, and then if you finally realize there is, he comes with, but he doesn't love you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or your sin's too great.
You're not good enough. You're not worthy of his love. You'll never be ready.
Yeah.
They're always better than you. Everybody who goes to church is better than you. It's all just lies, isn't it, brother?
It is. Yeah. He's the father of lies, isn't he?
Yeah.
And all he has to do is get you to doubt, and then he's got a way in. And a thing I rely on heavily now. It's amazing. I rely on scripture, but is a scripture that says, "Don't lean on your own understanding." And I really remember that at times, because I'm always I always question everything, and sometimes you can go down a rabbit hole and there's things that I don't understand, but I'm like, just don't worry about that, because we're not meant to understand everything. Don't lean on your own understanding, trust in God. So I love I love these Bible passages because it's so true. True.
Definitely. Yeah. They're not just words. We're told to eat the scriptures. They're delicious. They're food. keep the fire burning, or it goes out, and that's what Satan's trying to do, isn't he? He's trying to make sure that fire goes out in us.
Yeah.
Do you know, by getting us to neglect scriptures, neglect praying. You say, oh, well, you just keep repeating yourself in prayers. There's no point in saying any. And then eventually, I'm a bit tired to go to church, and then I'm a bit tired again. I missed it last week. You know, the one who missed me, and this is how it works, isn't it?
Yeah, and also you're praying for something and you don't get the result. Result that you want, and you think, well, why does someone else get their prayers answered but I don't? And then it can make you start asking questions and start doubting. And then you just have to remember, you're playing. You have to remember a couple of things, right? From what I understand and from what I've seen, sometimes the answer's no with prayers. Just no, for whatever reason. He sees God sees everything. Sometimes the answer is just no. Sometimes it's in time, and then sometimes it's yes. And I think we have to understand that. And there's again, lean not on your own understanding. That he knows what God knows why he's not going to do something. But so that's like you said, that's another thing. If your prayers aren't answered and you start doubting, then just remember that that's what Satan wants. This is what I would advise people. That's what you're playing right into Satan's hands every time. It's exactly what he wants. He wants you to doubt God loves you. He wants you to doubt that God cares about your prayers. It's just playing completely into his hands. I always remember that now through experience, and it strengthens me.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it is a spiritual battle, and we gotta know what we're playing for, and keep going, because God is there. He does love you, and he's watching. Another thing I always love as well in the Bible, there's that quote where Jesus is always with you, always. And I take that I believe that's literal. He is always with you, even though through every moment of your life he is there. And I take comfort in that as well. You're not on your own. So it was a crazy thing that happened in my life. Before that time, I never had anything spiritual. Never had anything happen to me. Never saw a ghost or anything like that. Never had any inclination in any kind. I was coming in completely neutral, completely like a blank slate. I had no preconception of God, or like he existed or didn't exist. Didn't even think about it.
Wow.
It's and then for that to happen, you're like, wow, this is all this stuff that Satan makes you think's not real. It's real, and it's just behind what we can see, just behind the veil. It's changed my life for the better, and now I believe you'd have to ask my wife and my kids, but I believe I'm a really good father, a really good husband. So this is the other thing with all this stuff, not sinning and stuff like that Jesus doesn't want us to do. It's for us. It gives us a much better life in every single way. That's the first thing. If you're not sinning and you're a really good husband and a good father, that's good for us. You have much better time for life. The other thing that I really realized through this is Jesus breaks every single chain, every single bondage. He wants you to be free, and he frees you from everything. And so all of this, don't sin, don't do this, is to free you. Because Satan wants to keep you in chains, whether that's in bondage of drugs, having to get drugs all the time, having to drink, having to do this, that's a slave, isn't it? That is being a slave. This is the most amazing thing. He frees you from that. And I get passionate about that, because I don't think people understand that. They think, oh, it's like he's a rule maker and stuff like that. No, it's to give you the freest life imaginable.
Exactly, brother. That's exactly what I've often said to people. Like, people look at the church or they look at the Christian life and they say, well, it's all rules, but not, these things are there to make us have more joy.
Exactly.
That's why we're there.
Yeah.
God knows you because He created you. So He knows what's best for you in your body, in your
Yeah.
life. So if you just trust Him, He'll give you. It says, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you." But people don't want to take that first step, do they, brother?
No, they don't, and
They
it's
don't
such a
want
shame.
to. Yeah,
It's such
yeah,
a shame because it can lead to the sweetest place, and
yeah.
an eternity with God is, what more could you ask for? You know,
Exactly.
I just, do you know, I a lot of the times I'm in absolute awe of God. I'm like,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
he's so amazing. He's given us he's given us everything.
yeah,
It's just incredible the love he has to give us all this stuff. And
yeah,
I'm forever thankful. If you like, I think if anyone really thinks about all the things we have in life that we don't even think about as a gift from God. For example,
yeah,
getting up and going for a walk and enjoying the nature. Such a simple thing.
yeah.
It's a gift from God.
Exactly.
He's given
Exactly.
us all of these things,
Yeah,
um, and he just wants you to be free and want him and live with the Creator.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Wow. Amen. Yeah, so it's really like simple, really, isn't it?
It
You
is.
know, it's like the first two commandments: love God and love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like hang on this, all the law, hang on these, all the law and the prophets. So like that's what it says. That's what it
Yeah.
says. So it's like everybody makes it complicated. Somebody once told me in church, they said, "Kiss, keep it simple, stupid." That's what they told
Yeah.
me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's right though, isn't it? It's like people get lost in the philosophies of men,
Mm,
so they just go back and forth. When really, in the miss the mark.
yeah.
The mark
They
is
do.
just loving God, isn't it? Loving God in each other. Like it's
Lo- Yeah, and follow his commandments, and that's
yeah,
it. That is it.
exactly. Yeah, and you'll get everything that your heart desires
Yeah.
in due time.
Yeah.
If it's not given in this life, it'll definitely be given in the life to come.
Yeah.
All of his
Exactly.
promises will be fulfilled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's as simple as that, as like what you just said. The first two
yeah,
commandments, and
yeah.
just follow the commandments, and which they're not unreasonable.
No,
His
no,
laws,
exactly.
they're
Yeah,
good. Um,
yeah.
and just follow it, and yeah, it's amazing. I'm so thankful. It's taken me
Mhm.
40. I'm 41 now. It's taken me 41
I
years to
am.
get here. Yeah,
Oh,
and it's taken me a long
you
time.
don't look it, you know. You
Oh,
don't look
thank you.
41.
I got a load of grey hairs coming
I
now.
thought you were younger. I thought you were younger than that, mate.
How old are you?
I'm 32. I thought
So
you,
you're still a
yeah,
baby.
I thought you were like not far off my age, you know.
Oh, I wish I was. I wish I was that young again. But no, 40. Just turned 41 in September.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like I've lived longer than 32 years, like.
Me too. Yeah, lived a few lifetimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's because we've been born again and we're in
yeah,
our second life now, aren't we, Dean?
absolutely. Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Actually, I said so. Once you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and that's when the work starts in your life. That's when He starts fixing it. And then I found as well that's when the enemy starts. The enemy comes for you in many cases.
Yeah,
When it's interesting because a lot's happened to me. Like I was talking to you about off camera
yeah,
about what's happened to my family and things like that since this has happened. Devastating things that I really struggle
yeah,
with now. Really, ever since I turned to Christianity, ever since I within days, literally
yeah,
within days, it's so obvious. Um,
yeah,
and he comes for you, which Satan comes for you. It makes sense, right? He doesn't need to come for people who are lost and living
yeah,
in real sin. That's exactly
yeah,
where he
yeah,
wants you. As soon as you start
yeah,
making waves, and that's when the enemy will come for you. And
Yeah.
it's hit me hard in some places, but I will never ever give up, never ever turn away from Jesus, because I know he loves us more than anything. He has our best intentions in mind. You know, he loves us and he wants the best for us, and I trust him wholeheartedly. So no matter what happens to me on this life, I will stick with him to the end.
Yeah.
I know what awaits.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would want to end with, Dean? Anything you want to share about that turning point in your life, or any type of message you want to give anybody to possibly inspire them to change from their ways and not end up next to creatures like this and in the wrong place and out of the darkness and with God instead?
Yeah. There's a couple of things I would say. No matter what's happened to you in life, ask God to come into your life. Ask him. Say, just truly from the bottom of your heart, with no hidden agenda, just truly on your hands and knees, ask him to show himself to you, and he will. It might not be the same day, but it might be a week's time, but he will, in one way or another. That's the first thing. Truly ask him from the bottom of your heart. Put aside all the pride, all the ego. Do that. See what happens. Secondly, like I say, don't just take my testimony. Have a look at other testimonies of people. And then once you've done that, have a look at the similarities about what people are saying, about what they saw, what they experienced. Then ask yourself, why would they lie about these things? I mean, there's liars in all kinds of things. You'll find lies everywhere, but the majority of people have nothing to gain from this, other than to help other people avoid it. And then just start looking into it. At the very least, just start looking into it with an open heart. Maybe watch some movies. Like a good one is I don't know if you've seen this, A Case for Christ by it's a fantastic movie by Lee Strobel. It's Lee Strobel. It's a true story about a journalist who thought he was an atheist. It's a true story about he's an atheist, and he was a journalist, and he thought because he's a journalist he could follow his journalistic practices and disprove God, and it takes him on this whole thing of disproving this and this and this. Ends up becoming a Christian and living his life for God. Goes to see all these scientists and all this type of thing, and it's incredible. Look into things like that. You know, look on YouTube for things. Just open your heart and look. Open your heart. Knock at the door, and he'll answer in one way or another. That's. I think I from doing this, you can only tell people your experience, and it's up to them, because some people's hearts are so closed off. Some people have so much trauma they don't want to even acknowledge anything. Some people don't want to accept God's exist because they want to continue living the life they've lived. We can only tell them, and it's up to them from there to take it the next steps themselves.
You're right, brother. Right in this moment, there's a very real purpose for you watching this. Maybe God's trying to speak to you. He's trying to wake you up. He's trying to help you to come towards him. So I just pray that people would reach out to God and reach out to him. He's there. He loves you. He wants to hear your voice. He just wants to hear you. He's your literal father. You are his child. He loves you very, very dearly. So just reach out to him, and he will save you in your sin, and you can come as you are. Don't wait until you're perfect to come to church. Don't wait until you're perfect to pray, because we're never going to reach perfection in this life, guys. So just come to God as you are. He's waiting to hear. He loves you very much. Thank you so much, Dean, for this amazing opportunity to hear your story and Yeah, I look forward to doing more things with you in the future, and yeah, it's
Can I
exciting.
can I show you one last thing? Like I found a picture. This isn't
Course you can.
this isn't exact. This isn't exact because obviously
Yeah.
it can't do an exact thing from your description, can it? But that's kind of what happened, you know. Oh, hang on. Could you see it? There.
Yeah.
That's the type of thing. That's these things around my
Amazing.
It's just, yeah. So yeah, no, I want to say thank you to you for
Yeah.
allowing me to talk with you, and like I
Okay.
say, hopefully this changes at least, even if it changes one person, it helps one person.
Yeah.
We've done a good job.
Exactly. Well, have a good rest of your day, Dean, and thank you so much for coming on my podcast. And
You're welcome.
God bless you and the rest of your journey. And I know it's going to be amazing. Just keep being honest. Keep like
Likewise.
sharing what's happened, and God will just take you to new heights, and it'll be all for His glory. So thank you
Likewise.
once again, Dean. God bless you, my brother.
Take
Thank
care.
you, everybody. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand.
Living quite a bad life, and I nearly died. And I had a very, very strong message that was spoken into my mind when this happened. If I had died in this sin, in that lifestyle, these things that were around me and tormented me could get to me, and I would be going to hell. That changed my life in an instant. Realised that God exists, realised that was a message from God to not mess around anymore, come to Him, He loves us. So from that moment on, I turned to Christ, started reading the Bible, and turned my life around and live a life for Him now.